Folks, thanks for coming in today. Just a quick introduction and a little announcement. Obviously, I am not John Eustace. So if you were expecting John today to moderate, John had a conflict and could not make it down. My name is Joe McDermott. I work with Marty and the staff at the Valley Preferred Cycling Center. And I was asked to serve as moderator here so that we could keep all the athletes on the panel today. We're going to go through and ask some questions, try to get an idea of what pro athlete's life is like, what training is like, some of the things that you might not know about being a pro athlete. And then we'll get through a couple of questions, and then maybe if we have time at the end, we'll open it up to some things that maybe you folks have. So what I'd like to do first of all is start at the far end of the table and just have each of our athletes here just give a brief description of your career and some of the highlights of your career and what you do now.
All right, my name is Harlan Price, and I'm known for endurance mountain biking, mostly encouraged by this guy over the years. Over the years, I've raced a lot of 100-milers, 12-hour races, marathons, national championships. This year I went to the World Championships, stage races. I've done stage races in India, Costa Rica, and the United States. My palmares include 100-miler National Series Championships, a National Endurance Championship, and a couple other smaller things along the way. So I do a lot of long races.
My name is Chris Etoff. I also do a lot of long mountain bike races. A lot of overlap with what Harlan's done, but my kind of main focus during the main part of my career became 24-hour solo mountain bike racing. I won the World Championship in 24-hour racing 6 times, and I won the National Championship 5 times, pretty much throughout the 90s. Also did similar races to Harlan, the 100-mile series in the U.S., but I've done races overseas in New Zealand, China, South Africa, Europe, so I've got some good traveling in also on my bike. Recently retired at the end of last year, retired from full-time racing and transitioning into coaching and also into bicycle advocacy, getting more people to ride the bikes more often in Arlington, Virginia. That's about the summary.
My name is Aaron Hartwell. I'm a 6-time Olympic and World Championship medalist, 3-time Olympian. I was coach for Norway at the 2004 Paralympic Games for the women's team. For 3 years I was the President and CEO of what was the Lehigh Valley Belgium, now the Valley Preferred Cycling Center, and I own a sports management company based out of the Lehigh Valley. So that was me, road and track cycling.
My name is Marty Notstein. I'm a 2-time Olympic medalist, 2000 Olympic Games gold medalist, and 96 Olympic Games silver medalist, 3-time world champion in track cycling. I've won World Cups, 35 national championships, been world and Olympic record holder, and I am now the executive director of the Valley Preferred Cycling Center.
My name is Brian Walton, ex-12-year professional cyclist, rode the road and the track. Highlight of my career is probably winning an Olympic silver medal in '96 on the track. Also rode in 3 other Olympics, 10-time national Canadian champion, raced for legendary 7-Eleven team in the 80s, early 90s, and Motorola as well. Lived over in Europe for 4 years, did all the classics, Paris-Roubaix, you name it, and have been a coach now for 10 years. Last 5 of which have been with Cadence Cycling and Multi-Sport Centers in Manayunk. Coached 2 young pups that are up-and-comers, Dominique Rollin on Cervelo test team, and a young kid you'll hear about in the triathlon community in the next little while, Joe Malloy, who's just taken out his pro card. So that's my pal Mars. Jeff?
My name is Jeff Devlin. I'm a former professional triathlete and duathlete. My biggest accomplishments there were probably twice placing 3rd at the Hawaii Ironman triathlon. I've been the triathlon pro national champion 3 times, duathlon national champion 3 times. Was won 2nd at the duathlon world championship, and for the past 14 years I've been retired from competition and coaching triathletes, runners, cyclists, mountain bikers, anything that has to do with endurance. I work with them.
My name's Todd Wiley.
raced as a pro for 9 years, triathlete. Before that, I was age group world triathlon and duathlon champion. After that, that's when I received my pro card. Pretty much raced long distance racing as a pro Ironman. Have done Hawaii Ironman as a pro 3 times. Never up to third, but more like top 100. Now I coach full time, dabble in racing a little bit, but pretty much focus a lot on coaching at this point.
I'm Lori Hugg, and I started doing triathlons in '89, turned pro in 2000 after winning my age group at nationals. And I was doing World Cup races for a while, went to Olympic trials in 2004. Mostly I like to do like the shorter races, but I've done everything up to Ironman distance. And I'm a master swimmer. I've set a couple world records for master swimming. And I coach both triathletes and high school swimmers and master swimmers at Germantown Academy.
I'm Chris Ganter. I'm in my rookie year as a professional triathlete and duathlete. It's fairly humbling to be in the presence of some of the folks up here. So I'm actually excited to learn as much as and have as many questions. I've submitted as many questions as you may have. I've been in the sport for about 6 years now. I won the duathlon national championship in 2008, and I'm looking forward to my starting my professional career this year.
Thanks a lot, folks. I think pretty obvious now that, you know, if this was a baseball team, it's the team that George Steinbrenner would buy, right? I mean, we've got some real heavy hitters up here. What I want to do is get into a couple of questions now and start talking and get a dialogue going. So what I'd like to say to the panelists is please feel free to jump in or respond to, some of the other comments if you think you've got something else to add, and we'll move through some of the questions and then open it up. What I'd like to do now is start with our Olympians. I know Aaron, Marty, and Brian here, and talk about being an Olympian and being a pro and some of the things that you've learned about what's it take to be competitive at that level. And what does it take to, what's the most important thing you've learned from being an Olympian and a pro athlete and about being an Olympian and a pro athlete?
Well, Joe, we have to defer to the gold medalists. Brian and I we're only silver medalists, so we got to go to the gold
We
first.
batting clean up in the order. Let's just start right there.
Oh, you're going to start with me? Oh, gee, I forgot what you
Come on,
were going to say. But no, I think speaking for all Olympians on the panel, the Olympic Games is such an important event, and to be able to compete on that stage at that level is something that is so special. And I can only speak for myself when I tell this story, but this year when I watched the games, the Winter Games in Vancouver, it was the first time I sat on my couch and watched the games, and it struck me at how important of an event that is and how big in the world of sports it is. I think as an athlete, when you're on that stage competing and you're in the trenches, so to speak, doing battle, you don't realize how big of an event it is. So for me, I retired in 2006. This year I really enjoyed watching the Olympics more than ever, but to be able to sit back and watch it and know what each and every athlete puts into it to get to that level, you really have incredible amount of respect for guys like this who have stood on that podium. You give up a lot. I missed a lot of great days with my family. I missed a lot of cool things I probably should have been doing that I didn't. But at the end of the day, you get to sit back and be part of a brotherhood that not many people are part of.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, just like Marty, watching the games this year, my perception was, how did I ever get to that point to begin with? You look at the quality of these performances and how fast, faster, higher, stronger a lot of these athletes are pushing. Just the level of competition across the board, whether it's winter or summer games, the commitment necessary, and we all know this. Everyone up here knows what it's like to commit fully to something. It's just incredible, and for a lot of us, myself included, that singular pursuit of excellence, to literally give everything in your being to pursuing that one goal. And for a lot of us, it came around every 4 years. My event was 1 minute long. There was no qualifying. There were no heats. There was a single ride. It came down to 4 years going my 1 minute, my 1,000 meters. How would I perform? How would I, would I actually get to that podium? Would the pursuit of excellence come to fruition. You know, it's a tough way to live. But looking back, I mean, I would give nothing up. You know, I'm 40 years old now, retired back in 2001, and I had a great life doing it. You know, to me, the Olympic Games was everything.
Well, for me, well, since we've been talking about Vancouver, it's my home,
That's right.
it's my hometown.
Your hometown.
So I was very proud. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there for the Olympics this year. But the Olympic Games for me was very similar to my whole career. It was a learning experience. And I went to Seoul in '88, and I was fresh off the turnip truck. I mean, Canada at that time, I mean, training was really just becoming, it was just coming into its own at that time. And we made a lot of mistakes. Went there, and I learned a lot from there. And I turned professional right after the Olympics, and I had very average results there. And I think a lot of it just had to do with the preparation leading up to the games and the inexperience. And then by the time '96 came around, I got to prepare the way I wanted to. I wasn't even in Atlanta before during the opening ceremonies. I was still actually doing a local bike race in Littis, PA here. And the day of the opening ceremonies. So I got to prepare the way I wanted to, and going into '96, that was the biggest asset for me, was the learning experience from the past. So that's part of the philosophy that I try to pass on to the people that we coach now. Learn from my past experiences, and found it to be very, very successful.
Anybody else? I mean, we've got world and national champions up here. Anybody have anything they want to?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and as a triathlete, in my time, the Olympics was not really an option. What may have prevented someone like me from that was just that, you know, having the singular focus. You know, some of the things that I prioritized as, at the time, you know, a father of small children, and just not wanting to make that huge commitment to take it to really that kind of level. I mean, it was already where you're living day in and day out, realizing that, okay, how well I'm going to do on a race day is largely affected by how well I'm sleeping, if I'm staying healthy, how I'm eating, just so much that plays into it. It's not a way to live where you can just go do whatever you want. Go to parties or
Yeah, I tell a lot of
social
people.
functions.
Yeah, I tell a lot of people. I did it as a father too, and you sacrifice so much, and you're so selfish at that level, only for yourself. When I won the gold medal in 2000, I felt so triumphant afterwards. You know, the first 2 or 3 laps after you win the event, your adrenaline's pumping and your fist is in the air. But within probably 30 seconds, my shoulders felt light. Like I literally felt the weight is off the shoulders, and the sacrifices that not only I made, but my family had to make to get to this point, and I didn't let them down. And again, you know, there's times when you leave your family crying at the airport because dad's got to go train for 2 months, and you come home and you're gone for another week. And I don't think many people realize that type of commitment is needed to be successful at that level. Some guys, you're right, you know, the Olympians, they, you know, seem like they're partying and stuff like that, but it's quite the opposite. And I was a lot like Brian. I never walked in the opening or closing ceremonies at the games. I very rarely even stayed in the Olympic Village, because to me, I made such a commitment to not only myself, but to my family. I was not going to let anything deter my progress. So, but I'll never forget the feeling my shoulders just, you know, got lighter. And much of that was after '96, you know, I won the silver medal, which I like to say I lost the gold medal, is what I did. And it was
Rub it in, man.
Yeah, and it was in a photo finish. And you know, those next 4 years, you know, I told my family I'm going to go back and we're going to win it. And I'll never forget another feeling. I walked in the arena that day, knowing that we were racing for the medals, and I'm either going to leave here, you know, bloody and scarred, or I'm going to leave here with a gold medal. And I did. So.
You know,